Alright everybody, what we're going to do right here, right now, I'm going to give you the Kyrogus bandwagon guide for the 2022-23 NFL season. What I actually mean by that is I'm going to rank every single NFL team, all 32 of them, from my least favorite to favorite. And then when we get to the end of the year, you can come back to this video and see if the teams that I seem to be favoring with how I talk about them, you can see if I'm bandwagoning or not. Because I'm calling my shot right here, right now. Teams that I like and the teams that I don't like. So that way you can know from the get-go, early on in the year, how I feel about these teams. Now, it's destined to change. It's going to change. Just this list, I created this list for the first time a week and a half ago, and I have significantly altered the order like 4 different times. Like, there are teams that went from my top 5 to like 15, and like, I don't know why, just what I felt about teams changed so much the last couple weeks. So let's just get into the list. So, as I'm sure is not a surprise to anyone who is familiar with me whatsoever, I mean, look at the freaking jersey I'm wearing. Ignore his shirt because he doesn't actually mean it, but everyone understands how I feel about this team. At number 32, the Philadelphia Eagles will always and forever be my least favorite team in the league. It has very little to do with the players on the team and everything to do with the fan base and the fact that they are in the NFC East. They are the best team in the NFC East right now, besides the Cowboys. Not necessarily saying that the Cowboys are better. They are not. I'm just saying, of the 3 NFC East teams other than the Cowboys, the Eagles are obviously the biggest threat, plus the Eagles fan base. I hope every single resident of Philadelphia is watching this right now. I despise you. I just do. Now, on every team on this list, I do like individual players on every single team. So, like, on Philadelphia, I do really like Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Darius Slay, players like that. But despite that, I want to see the team fail. So I don't care if players have individual success, but any Eagles win is a bad week in my life. So absolutely despise the Eagles. They're going to be 32. At number 31, we have the New York Football Giants, who just last night took a sweet L to the boys in blue from down there in Dallas. It was in New York. That was a heck of a game. I mean, I don't know if a heck of a game is the right word, but it was a decent game. There was some good stuff about it, but we're not talking about the game. We're just talking about the team. Pretty much the same reason as the Eagles, whereas they're a division rival, and they are more of a threat than the 3rd division rival, meaning I despise this team a little bit more. I do like individual players on the Giants again. I like Saquon Barkley. He's really fun. I pretty much don't care for anyone else, though. Daniel Jones, I think, is a little bit better than the rep that he gets, but I don't think he's very good even with that. He doesn't have a lot of help, but even if he had the help, I feel like he wouldn't be that great anyways. I do have respect for Danny Dimes, though, especially because, as I mentioned when we were talking about the Ravens and Dolphins game and analyzing Lamar's play a little bit, I just have a real big soft spot for rushing quarterbacks, which I don't think Danny Dimes is a run-first quarterback, but he makes more plays on his legs than a lot of quarterbacks do. And I'm not just talking about because he picked up 8 first downs on the run in the game last night, but I've just seen, like, he has that giant rush that he ends up tripping and falling on. I would have loved that highlight. I mean, I loved it either way because it's hilarious to see him trip and fall. But I was, like, watching that, because I watched that play in real time, actually. And I was like, as it was going, I was like, okay, that was a sick run. And then he tripped and fell, and it was hilarious. But yeah, clear reason, Giants 31, division rival, just don't like him. So, number 30, can anyone guess what it is? It is not the Washington Commanders. It's the San Francisco 49ers. I freaking hate the San Francisco 49ers. I threw a curveball for you. This is called subverting expectations. Now, you would think it's because I'm a Cowboys fan, and in the playoffs last year, the 49ers knocked us out. It really is not because of that. I don't really know what it is. I just don't like the 49ers at all. I just don't like the 49ers. My whole life, I've just thought they were a boring team. And I don't know, but they beat us in the playoffs last year, so that's annoying. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is just the biggest fraud in sports. I just don't like the 49ers at all. Now, I think Deebo Samuel is a pretty cool player, and I do like Kittle. George Kittle is cool. I like George Kittle. I like Juszczyk. So I like every team. I like some individual players, but I just hate the 49ers organization. I'm sorry to say. Number 29. Now, surely this has got to be the Washington. Oh, it's not. It's the Los Angeles Rams. Let me tell you about the Los Angeles Rams. I like some players on that team, but I don't know what it is. This team just annoys me so much. They just won the Super Bowl. So normally, unless it's a team I like, I want teams that win the Super Bowl to kind of pipe down and spread the love a little bit. But I think I don't know. I don't like Jalen Ramsey. He's just really annoying. And I think Stafford got way too much hype for last season. I think it was nice that he finally got some of the credit he wasn't getting in Detroit, but people overcompensated that a little bit, in my opinion. I like Sean McVay as a coach. Whenever the Rams lose, I just get in a better mood. I don't know why. I just dislike the Rams. Maybe it's because Rambo bandwagoned the Rams hardcore last year, and everything Rambo likes, you will see that majorly later in this list. Rambo liking certain teams made me drop them significantly, and that's real. That's real. There's one team specifically that dropped majorly just because Rambo likes them, and you'll see that later. All right, are we finally going to have the Washington Commanders? Everyone knows they're coming, right? They're a divisional rival. At number 28, we've got the Houston Texans. Where are the Washington Commanders? We'll get there. What do I think about the Houston Texans? They're just literally why I put them here. I'm telling you exactly why. They are the most boring team in the league. I'm sorry to say. They're just so boring. There's nothing interesting about the Houston Texans. When has Houston been good enough to be a threat? Exactly. That's the reason they're this low. They are so boring. When I look at the Houston Texans, I just go, ugh. You know, obviously Deshaun Watson now has his issues, but ever since Deshaun Watson stopped playing a few years ago, before Deshaun Watson was known for other things, Houston's just been so boring. They're just, Rambo and Chat, pretty good. They're just blah, you know what I mean?
They're not blah, they're blah.
The Houston Texans used to be cool. I would have put them probably in those days that y'all are talking about. They would have been in the top 15. They would have been in the top half of teams for me. But right now, the Houston Texans are so freaking boring, and I hate them for that reason. There are teams like I can hate, but like the Texans, it's just like I would never have fun watching a Texans game. At number 27, we have the Washington Commanders. You know they couldn't be too high up. I had to put some of those few teams that were just really bugging me lower than them. The reason I have a divisional rival not at the bottom 3 teams is because the Washington Commanders are just a little bit too cute for that. You know what I mean? Like, when a team is so non-threatening, even if they're in my division, I can't hate them that much. Now, I mentioned before, I was a big Taylor Heineke fan just because of that game he had against the Buccaneers. I just thought that was really cool. I like Terry McLaurin. There's not too many players on the Commanders that I like. I'm not really like a Carson Wentz fan. It's just the Commanders are just so bad and have been for so long with a decent season here and there. I just can't make myself hate them because they've never really done anything to make me hate them. I mean, they've beat us, you know, in some regular season games here and there over the past decade, but like, they've never really done anything to make me hate them. So I dislike them, and I generally want them to lose, but they've never really hurt me enough to make me hate them. There have been years that the Giants have like killed my season dreams, and the Eagles always make me hate them. But the Commanders / the football team / whatever they used to be called, I have no idea. They have never really done anything to hurt me that bad, so that's why I got them at 27 rather than 29 or 30. Number 26, I have the New York Jets. Now, as much as I love the swagger of that quarterback, the MILF hunter, Zach Wilson, other than that, if that didn't happen to the New York Jets, they would have been low. Because that was the only interesting thing that has ever come out of the New York Jets that I can think of. I mean, yeah, they used to have Jamal Adams, Le'Veon Bell. Their jerseys are okay. Those all-green jerseys are kind of cool. This team would have been almost as boring as the Houston Texans if just the hilarious story about Zach Wilson didn't come out. This team is just super boring, and they suck. Joe Flacco, Joe Comebaco, did have that crazy comeback win against the Browns, but that wasn't enough. They're just a boring team. They're bad. I don't like to watch them, so they're at 26. Number 25. This is a team that moved around a lot over the last couple weeks. I've got the Minnesota Vikings. I just can't like a team with Kirk Cousins at quarterback. Something about Kirk Cousins just makes me angry. I don't know what it is. I look at a guy like that and think, how am I supposed to be convinced that you were one of the top athletes in the world? The quarterback is the most important position on a football team. Do you mean to tell me that Kirk Cousins is a top 32 most important football player in the world? I just can't believe that. Number 24. This is a team that dropped a lot today specifically. I had this team at like 15 or 16, and then today I was like, 0-3, respect, lost. The Raiders, the only winless team in the league as of today. Number 23 is the Cleveland Browns. This team would have been a lot higher up the past few years, but there's just been some things with the Cleveland Browns that I just don't like. However, I do like Amari Cooper a lot. I love Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is probably, I'm going to say this when I start getting the teams that I like. I'm going to say favorite, and when I say favorite, it does not include Cowboys players. So when I say favorite, and I'm talking about a team that's not the Cowboys, I actually like the Cowboys player for that more, but I'm just, you know what I mean? But Nick Chubb, with that prereq, that little asterisk next to it, Nick Chubb is probably my favorite running back in the league. I am a massive Nick Chubb fan. I have been for several years now. He's just awesome. He's my biggest thing that I like on the Browns. Nick Chubb gives him a Chubb. That is facts. That is a factual statement. Number 22. We've got the Denver Broncos. Now, this team just... They're maybe the worst 2-1 team I've ever seen in my life. I despise their coach. That guy, I am convinced, sucks. I am convinced that the Broncos head coach is the worst head coach in football. At 21, we have the Indianapolis Colts. I would have had this team so much higher. Now, they did just beat the Chiefs, so maybe they're a little bit better than they seemed after the first few weeks. But, oh my gosh, I had this team at number 6 on the preseason rankings, and that is, to this date, the biggest L take on the history of the Kyro cast. Not a long history, but a history nonetheless. At 20, I have the New England Patriots. Now, a lot of people still hate the Patriots from the Tom Brady days when they were just winning every single Super Bowl ever. But I don't know what it is. Something about a team that was good for a long time, when they go into rebuilding mode, I don't know what it is. I just get, like, interested in the team. Like, I want to see how a team that was so dominant for so long, when they lose those key pieces, I like to see just kind of how they respond to that. At number 19, we have the Chicago Bears. This is a team I feel similarly about to the Patriots, where it's like kind of a meh team I don't really care that much about. But I have a soft spot for young studs, and I have a soft spot for running quarterbacks. And that describes Justin Fields pretty well. I just like the Chicago style football. They've always been kind of like a rough, gritty themed team, kind of like the Pittsburgh Steelers are. At number 18, I've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have respect for Tom Brady being the GOAT, and I just have respect for that. I really like Mike Evans. I really like the Tampa Bay defense. I think they're really good, and I got a lot of respect for those players. But it's kind of like a little bit, to a lesser extent, kind of how I feel about the Rams, where it's like, all right, you were good. You got a lot of bandwagon fans that came your way because you got really good and won a Super Bowl quickly. So that kind of annoys me, but I've always liked the Buccaneers even back when they sucked, just because I think their logo is cool. I have a soft spot for red teams, obviously, and then the skull with the cross swords and the football. That's just a dope logo. And when I don't feel that much of a certain way about a team, as you'll see later with another team that we've already mentioned before, your team's theme can sway me a lot if I don't actually care that much about the team specific. They have Julio Jones, who's one of my favorite football players of all time. Yeah, he's not really a massive piece of that team, but they just have him on the roster, so I like that. And then I like that defense a lot with like Levante David, Devin White, and them. At number 17, we have the Green Bay Packers. Now, I feel pretty similarly on the Packers and the Buccaneers. I can kind of go back and forth with them. I think I did a little bit when I was switching the orders around. The Packers, if you ask me anytime, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago maybe, and before, the Packers would have been my least favorite team in the league besides the Eagles. It would have been Eagles, Packers, Giants were my bottom 3. I even hated the Packers more than the Giants. There's the Dez caught it game, which he did catch it. Then in 2016, Dak and Zeke's rookie year. Ezekiel Elliott, 2016. Rookie Zeke is probably my actual favorite football player of all time, but as a whole, Dez Bryant is my favorite football player of all time. Needless to say, the Packers ruined my dreams for both of those players. And so I just hated the Packers for so long. Plus, they're also another really popular team. I used to hate Aaron Rodgers so much, but since he has been on the Pat McAfee show, I have watched every single Aaron Rodgers Tuesday, and I think it's just seeing him more as like a human being just makes me not hate him as much. I don't necessarily think he's the best man of character. I don't know. Aaron Rodgers has got some weird stuff about him, but just him being on a casual talk show every Tuesday has just been really fun for me to watch. And I really like players like Aaron Jones. Jair Alexander is a really good corner, that kind of thing. At number 16, we have the Carolina Panthers. Going back, I was a big Cam Newton fan when he was like winning MVPs with this team. Even before he was winning MVPs. The first moment that I liked the Panthers, this is the most random thing ever. Just a random story. But it's probably, I want to say like 2014. I want to say probably 2014. I want to say it was around that Dez Bryant catch season. I just call it that season because that's the ending of that season. I want to say it was about 2014 though. There was some Cam Newton Gatorade commercial, and it was nothing special. It was the most standard commercial ever. It was like a commercial. Cam Newton just like throws a pass and then takes a big chug of Gatorade, puts it on the bench, and it's like Gatorade. Most random thing ever. I have no idea why, but I saw that commercial, and I was like probably 11 or 12 years old. And I was just like, that guy's cool. Man, that Cam Newton guy, he's cool. And so I just liked Cam Newton after that. And then he ended up being really good a year or two later and won MVP, won the Super Bowl. Now, we don't need to talk about the Super Bowl if we're talking about Cam Newton because no one needs to remember that. But I don't know why I just started really liking Cam Newton then. And then the Panthers just became super boring. Christian McCaffrey, I just don't really care about Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he's good, but he just can't stay healthy. He hasn't really done anything in a while. I'd like Baker Mayfield a decent amount and want to see him succeed, but that's not enough for me to care about the Panthers. They're another one of those really boring teams. At 15, we got the Los Angeles Chargers. This team is one that dropped a lot for me. I used to like them. Well, at the beginning of the season, I liked them a lot, and they've kind of dropped for me. They are kind of being the Chargers that we've always known and dropping a little bit. Granted, Herbert's had some health issues, and so have other players on their team. So it could just be a fluke couple of weeks with some injury problems, but they just can't seem to ever get it together and be that great team. Because like their roster is pretty stacked right now. And yeah, they're dealing with some injuries, but they can't really get it going. So I do like the Chargers lightning bolt. That's a cool logo. You know, I said the aesthetic of a team is going to go into how I like these middle of the road teams that I don't actually care about the personnel or I don't actively dislike. So not that much to say about the Chargers. I love Khalil Mack, who they have now. Austin Eckler's pretty good. Herbert's a very good young quarterback. And yeah, I like Derwin James. I really like the Chargers defense. Number 14. If this team did not look exactly how it looks, they would probably be like 26. But that red and black theme, that sharp Falcon logo, ooh, and they used to be the home of Julio Jones, who, as I said, is one of my favorite players ever. But just that clean red and black. When I was a kid, the Falcons were my second favorite team, strictly because this cool logo and they're red and black, and that just speaks to me. Speaks to me. Their alternate jerseys, the ones that like go from black and then fade up into red on top, the best jerseys in the NFL, if you ask me. At 13, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I do actually really like this team. What's holding me back right now is that offense with Mitchell Trubisky is just not there. And I can't put Mitch Trubisky, the face of that team. Clearly, the face of that team is like TJ Watt in that defense. But quarterback is a quote-unquote face of every team. Mitch Trubisky, I just want them to play Pickett. I understand what's giving the Steelers the most likely chance to win at this point. Technically, is Trubisky just because he has the experience. But I just want to see them play Pickett. If they play Pickett and like win a couple games with Pickett, I'll be high on the Steelers. I do like Steelers. And also, like, my friends, when they like a team, it makes me like them more. So, like, Matt and Buendo. Matt especially has always been a massive Steelers fan our whole lives. And so, I like it. I genuinely like teams more when someone that I'm close to likes them, just because whenever they're not playing against one of my teams, I just tend to root for them because it's my friend's team. So I like the Steelers a lot for that reason too, but I also just love the essence of that team. Like I said about the Bears, just that gritty, tough team. And then that defense is awesome. Minkah Fitzpatrick is dope. TJ Watt, Cam Hayward on the pass rush. The defense is awesome. I know TJ Watt's hurt right now, but the defense is just awesome. And I just like the Steelers. Number 12, we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, this is 100% because I love the bounce back story from where they were so bad last year. They got screwed by a horrible head coach. And like I said, I'm a big fan of young studs. And every young player who is hyped coming into the league, there's not ever a young player that I am not rooting for. So I really want Trevor Lawrence to succeed. In the past couple weeks, he has looked really, really good, and I love that. At number 11, I have the Miami Dolphins. Now, remember when I said there are some teams that dropped a lot for some specific reasons in recent weeks? I will have you know that the Dolphins, at one point when I was making this list, were number 4. They were just outside of my top 3 favorite teams. Because as I always say, I have a soft spot for young studs. I want to see Tua succeed. They also have Tyreek Hill, who is probably my favorite active wide receiver, again, doesn't count towards the Cowboys. Probably my favorite receiver in the league is Tyreek Hill. Julio Jones would be above him, but Julio Jones isn't really Julio Jones anymore. The Dolphins are another one of those teams that just need some success. And I just really, really liked the Dolphins. And they had some good games. And so what happened? Two things happened. Rambo started rooting for them hardcore. And I really just, it started to annoy me. I can't lie. And B, after they beat the Bills, I mean, the Dolphins kept getting continuously hyped up. After they beat the Bills, it just got out of control. Now, I don't think of myself as a contrarian, but you might not be like this, Rambo, but whenever something gets super hyped up and like everyone seems to just be, I don't know how to say it nice, everyone just seems to be sucking off at something. You know what I mean?
Whoa,
you know what I mean, though?
Whoa.
You know what I mean, though? Rambo rooting for him, kiss of death. You know what I mean? But I don't think of myself as a contrarian, but when everyone seems to be humping, wow, that's a blunder. Kyro
Can
L.
somebody clip that? Please clip that.
Not humping. When everyone seems to be... Okay. When everyone seems to be jumping on a specific train, I'm not always like this, but there are some instances where it's like, okay. Can we relax a little bit? So the Dolphins, I had it 4, and then after last week, and when the Bills lost, I found myself being more like, man, the Bills lost than I was, wow, look at the Dolphins. So the Dolphins, I had them at 4, but I had to drop them a little bit because I think they're getting a little bit overhyped after starting 3-0 and beating the teams that they beat. But I do still really, really like the team, and I want to see them succeed. I just had to drop them a little bit. Just a little bit. But I do still really love the Dolphins. I want to see them be great. At number 10, we have the Baltimore Ravens. Similarly to what I just said about I was more like, man, the Bills lost than I was, man, the Dolphins won. That's kind of how I felt about the Ravens when they lost to them. Now, granted, mostly that was because I picked the Ravens to win that week in WGP, and Rambo didn't. And so I lost the split on the Ravens throwing the game. And so that hurt. But I'm also just a massive Lamar Jackson fan. I've said it multiple times already. I have a massive soft spot for running quarterbacks, and he is the epitome of a running quarterback. And they need to pay that man. At number 9, we've got the Buffalo Bills.
Get your tables ready.
Get your tables ready because I am about to pile drive through them. Now, I'm not actually a massive Bills fan. However, what do I love about the Bills? Josh Allen, while he was sucking, I was still a fan of. I was like, this guy's got a massive arm. I truly believe he can be good. Everyone was kind of riding Josh Allen off his first couple years, and to see him pop and become a top 2 quarterback in the league is nuts. And I absolutely love that. And also, I love Stephon Diggs. I've alluded to it. The Minneapolis Miracle is probably my favorite sports play of all time. I'll never forget where I was and what I was doing when I watched that happen live. And it's just nuts. I'll tell that story another time. But I've loved Stephon Diggs ever since. And Stephon Diggs is the brother to Trayvon Diggs, who is one of my absolute favorite players. So that's something, but I really liked Stephon Diggs before that ever happened. At number 8, we've got the Cincinnati Bengals. I just love Joe Burrow. He's one of those young studs I really want to see succeed. I like Jamar Chase a decent amount. They're just a young team, and as I keep saying, I really like young teams. It's weird because I feel like I don't like that many players on the Bengals, but the ones I do like and just the essence of the team, I really like. Plus, they're tigers, which is probably my favorite real animal. Again, I know a dumb reason to like a team, but this stuff comes into play. Those white tiger unis on Thursday are going to be so clean, they might jump up to the top 5 after that, if they're as clean as I'm hoping they're going to be. At number 7, we have the New Orleans Saints. They're kind of a team, kind of like the Steelers, that I like them a lot just because of the essence of the team. Plus, some of my friends are massive Saints fans. And so I just like the Saints for that reason. But I also love the Saints Color Rush white jerseys are so clean with the gold numbers. I really like Alvin Kamara. Jameis Winston is one of those quarterbacks. If a guy is crapped on so badly, I kind of want to see them get it turned around and succeed. So I kind of feel that way about Jameis Winston. That Saints defense is fun too. They've got Demario Davis. They've got Cam Jordan. Now they've got Honey Badger on the Saints, which is cool. At number 6, we've got the Detroit Lions, baby. Now, the Detroit Lions, I love an underdog story. I root for underdogs so much. If I'm ever watching a random sporting event, college game or whatever, I always find myself rooting for the team that's losing because I just love comebacks. I love good games in general. And like if I'm watching like a really good like college game and I will root for the team that's losing. And I don't do this on purpose, but then like if that team takes the lead, I now find myself subconsciously rooting for whatever team just lost the lead. I just want to see that team succeed. And so the Lions have just been so bad for so long. And they've got some players that I really like. DeAndre Swift, one of my favorite running backs in the league. I really like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I really like Dan Campbell, the coach. The Lions are clicking and they're starting to have more success and be a better team, and I just love it. And that's why they're almost at my top 5. At number 5, I got the Tennessee Titans. Now, similar vibe to Saints and Steelers. Lance, he's active in chat. Obviously, he's one of my monitors, one of my absolute best friends. He's a big Titans fan, so that makes me like him a little bit more. The biggest reason is that Treylon Burks, the rookie receiver from the Arkansas Razorbacks, plays for them. And then they also have Malik Willis, who isn't really playing yet, but I love those young studs, and I love running quarterbacks. So all those things click together to make me really want to root for the Titans. But that's pretty much all I have to say. Treylon Burks is the biggest reason, but I also like Malik Willis, and then my friend is a big fan of him. So all those reasons make me like the Titans a lot. Now, I feel like the top 4 teams I like, there's a little bit of a gap between where I was just at and the top 4 teams. The top 4 teams, I love all of these teams. But yeah, I feel like these top 4 teams, there's a little bit of a gap between them and the rest of the teams. I love all 4 of these top 4 teams. At number 4, I have the Arizona Cardinals. Let me tell you.
What?
Oh, you're going to laugh at me. It's mainly because I absolutely love Kyler Murray and I love Hollywood Brown. Those are the biggest reasons.
Gosh.
I know, Oklahoma guys, so not really for the college stuff. But Kyler Murray, how many times have I said, I love young studs, I love running quarterbacks. That's Kyler Murray. Plus, he's just cool. He streams on Twitch. He plays video games. Does it make him a worse football player? Probably. But it's still cool.
He loves that double XP.
Double XP weekend. Gotta take advantage of it, bro. But yeah, I just love Kyler Murray. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. But I also love Hollywood Brown. I've just been a massive fan of him since he came to the league. I was really sad when he left the Ravens because, like I said, I love Lamar Jackson, and Lamar to Hollywood Brown just made me so happy. But now, Kyler Murray, who I do like a little bit more than Lamar Jackson, is going to Hollywood Brown. And they also have that old school connection, so that's just cool too. Yes, there's other stuff about the Cardinals I like, but that's mainly what it is those 2 players are just 2 of my favorite players in the league, are Kyler Murray and Hollywood Brown. If it was not for contractual agreements, this next team would probably be number 2. But at number 3 are the Kansas City Chiefs. I just love the Chiefs. I love them so much with Tyreek Hill, so that sucks that he's gone. But they would probably be number 3 either way. Tyreek Hill, like I said, is probably my favorite receiver in the league, non-Cowboy. But my absolute favorite player in the league, again, non-Cowboy, I'm going to keep putting that asterisk so people don't go crazy. But my favorite player in the league is Patrick Mahomes. I just love Patrick Mahomes. The way he plays is amazing. He's so cool. He's so good. And he is, in my opinion, and I think most people's opinion, the only player in the league that right now has a foreseeable chance when it's all said and done to rival Tom Brady for the greatest player of all time. Obviously, he has a lot to do before that. But like of the players in the league right now, he's the only one that really has a shot at getting there. And that's not crazy to say. I think everyone would agree with that. I'm not saying he is or is going to, but that's just a cool thing to root for, knowing that you're watching the early stages of a guy who has the chance to get there. But also just the way he plays. He just is so like fluid and smooth with how he plays. He's got a massive arm. Dude is just so fun to watch. I love watching the Chiefs because I love watching Patrick Mahomes play football. It's just so fun. Dude is amazing. Travis Kelce, best tight end in the league. He's also super fun. I really like Travis Kelce. Mainly just those 2. I mean, I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire a decent amount. I like Honey Badger when he was there, even if other people in my chat did not. Also, they're red, so that just helps so much. If this team was any color other than the red, I don't know if they'd be all the way at number 3. I don't think I'm ever not rooting for the Chiefs. Like, every time I see the Chiefs play, I'm wanting them to win. I don't know what it is. Something about Patrick Mahomes. I just want his legacy to keep getting fed. All right, at number 2, the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I used to despise this team. I was so hyped And every Seahawks fan is going to get mad at me and hate that I have them at number 2 and just despise me when I say this. I cannot tell you how hyped I got when Malcolm Butler picked off Russell Wilson in the Super Bowl. Now, speaking about that team, I loved Marshawn Lynch. And I loved Cam Chancellor and that secondary. That team was just good. So I did like that team a decent amount. I hated the Seahawks for a long time for just random reasons. They were just, in my opinion, an annoying team. However, as many of you know, my current girlfriend and probably soon to be fiance is a massive Seahawks fan. Like a legit, whoa, big breaking news. But her family comes from Seattle, and so they're just massive true Seahawks fans. She always roots for the Cowboys when they're not playing this team, so having a girl who likes football is extremely rare, I feel like. And so
that's a green flag.
It's a massive green flag. So if keeping that intact requires me loving the Seahawks, I'll do what I do. Now, DK Metcalf, one of my favorite receivers in the league. He's awesome. I told you about how I love Julio Jones. I feel like DK Metcalf is the closest thing to being the next Julio Jones in the league right now, just with his massive size and speed and athleticism. I love DK Metcalf. I also love Tyler Lockett. They got that, not Rashad Penny. Is it Kenneth Walker? He's the young Michigan State running back, right? Is that right? Fact check me on that. But
I know he went to Michigan State. I don't even know if he's a Seahawk or not.
No, he is. He's their, yeah. I like Kenneth Walker a lot too. I watched some Michigan State games last year just randomly, and in every Michigan State game I watched, I was like, this dude is sick. So I just like him for that reason.
He ran over everybody in college.
So I like it for that. Not much else to root for on the Seahawks. They're pretty bad. They had a cool Week 1 win. That was fun to see. But yeah, mainly just DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Kenneth Walker. I like all those guys. But so I'll talk about the actual team. But also, yeah, it's definitely a contractual obligation for why I love the Seahawks, but I kind of have to. And I'm okay with that. And at number 1, if anyone could have guessed, the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not going to talk too long about it. Dallas Cowboys are my number 1 favorite team because they were my family's favorite team. They always have been. Growing up, everyone in my house was a Cowboys fan, and so that's just kind of why it happened to me. Now, has that been a curse? Yes. Does it make my life constant pain? Yes. But will I forever love that blue star? Yes. I don't really know what to say. If I talk about what I love about the Cowboys right now, Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs when he's getting picks, CeeDee Lamb when he's not dropping touchdowns, Zeke when we go back in time 5 years. Break tradition, be your own man. I have genuinely considered that at times. I just can't do it. No, as much as this team hurts me, I can't ever find myself rooting for a team more than them. It's just instilled into my blood. I don't know what it is. Cowboys, number 1. You know what it is. Thank you so much for watching my list. Later in the season, when I start rooting for teams as the season goes on, you can go back to this video and see if early in the year I kept that same energy. But thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll catch y'all later. Peace. Don't be like them.
Hey, I meant what I said. It was just emphasizing my point for me. All right, so are we actually going to get to the NFL now, or what? Are we just going to sit here and hobnob? Because, dude, that's pathetic.
Sorry, I think my internet was breaking up there, guys. My bad.